Good morning. It is Monday morning on a glorious day, and I am on day 10 of our How Will You Bring More Life to your 2022. And I'm on day 3 of my project that started on Saturday. 2 more days to go. And I'm standing in, yeah, that's the sway. I'm realizing I'm just swaying because this is what it feels like to be in a forest. So let me give you a panorama so that you can see just how glorious it is. I mean, oh my dear, it's like a cathedral with these trees so high up and the sky so blue. And of course, right behind me is one of my favorite things in the world, a holly bush with red berries on it. So no matter what you're going through or what the world is like, when you're in an environment like this, it's just the perfect place to breathe. Now, I know I need to, I've got Chuck Beatty in my head. It's like, Maya, there's a tree coming out of your head. um, so here we are. And we are about a third of the way through my 31 days. And I've actually really learned some things, many of which you have taught me. So my favorite thing, I think, is that I keep getting your feedback that says just how powerful and nourishing my voice is, and I think you can now see the difference between my environment and my voice, or it just sounds better to me in a forest. So I do everything I can to be in a forest as often as possible. Um, so that's the first thing. And then the second thing that comes right out of that is if my voice is so powerful, then it's really important that I use it um, for things that will make a difference for people. And so that led me to this morning thinking about, this is kind of I'll just say tricky situation because it's kind of uncomfortable. It's not really comfortable, and it's also a topic that, most folks really don't want to spend a lot of time on because, most folks actually really, if you don't spend time here the way I do, then you can't build skill here like I have, and then when the situation happens, it's really hard to not, fall on your butt. So I'm appreciating so much the opportunity to just get to be in it and play it real time. And for those of you who are joining me either on the replay or live, thank you so much for your feedback. I mean, I'm just getting such gorgeous messages from you, and they touch my heart, and they actually inspire me to keep on going. Um, and so the second thing is when you're committed to doing something and you allow yourself to be unconnected to what the outcome is. We're always trying to get stuff and do stuff and accomplish things, and that's part of how we were raised and trained, and that's our world. And it's not like there's nothing good about that. There is, but and when that's the only thing it is, we need an outcome. We need an outcome. It's like there's no life there. We're just connected to the outcome. And if you think about nature, nature has a general outcome, like the seasons is an easy outcome, or the tides is an easy outcome, and it's not the same every day. It's not the same every year. So it's okay. Here's where we're going, and however it shows up is however it shows up. So that biomimicry strategy actually really helps me with this because and you're helping me to just trust the process. So, a number of things are emerging. Number one is, we said yesterday, when you have this thing in your head about somebody, and thank you for all your comments about that. That's the one I think that hit the hardest, and it hit me the hardest too. It's like, oh my gosh. Then you turn a person into an abstraction, and that's not good, and that certainly doesn't bring more life to the relationship. Good morning, thank you. Yes, Sharon, I did catch myself saying the word but. Sharon has been in training with me for a long time, and I always say, but cancels everything that you said in front of it. So I practiced really hard. But, there's a but. You don't even hear him. All right. So back to our conversation um, about abstractions and about learning and the pieces that um, the more you stay with a person, and the more you let whoever it is that you're having a difficulty with be a person. First, I got yesterday, that you allow them to be innocent because they're really just living their life. They're just doing what they're doing. And, the impact on you is the impact on you. And their outcome is often um, not what their intention is. Because A, they're not even thinking about you. They're thinking about them. And they're just doing what they do. This is normal, total, human. And so this whole business of self-awareness that I have, built my work on, actually allows you to maneuver through things when you're aware of you, because a lot of folks don't have or don't take that luxury of taking time, like standing in a forest like this and thinking, okay, so where are you? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? How's that working for you? What are you blind to? Another one of my favorite new questions is, am I using an outdated strategy on a new problem? Because, COVID turned the world on its head and nothing will ever be what it was even 2 years ago. And so if we use those old strategies on what's happening now, we're typically going to fail. And so if that, and that's not going to bring any life to the situation, it's pretty much going to close it off. And so I have the luxury of continuing to think about this. What would bring more life to the situation? Am I using an outdated strategy? And my anger and my, we'll just say anger, because it holds a closet full of other, frustration, anger, disappointment, disgust, aggravation. They all live in that same closet with anger. Um, and when I was holding on to those things, that was an outdated strategy because I realized that, and some of you, and I hope this one hits, because when I got this one, I just went, oh my God, this is going to so hit with a lot of people. And that is, I thought about, well, how did I get here? Like, let's just take a moment, sit on the couch and go, how did I get here? Something happened 11 years ago that was traumatic, that was upsetting, that was in the midst of really difficulties, really difficulties. And so, of course, everybody in a situation like that is not going to be at their best. So if you think about, any issue that you have with anybody and any difficulty, and you go back to the initial thing, were you upset, scared, angry, in grief, in grief? Well, that'll really tangle up, your circumstances. And so, if that's where it started, of course it's going to be crappy. Of course it's going to be crappy going forward. So you can go back and, forgive yourself. That was the best you could do. Remember the part about going back and judging what you did and judging what you did in the past with how you feel or what you know in the present. And, never a good strategy. And so that allows you to go back to the situation where whatever started and go, okay, all right, that makes sense. You were upset, you were in grief, you were scared, you were whatever it was. And then that turned everything, um, to that particular channel. And you've just been carrying that channel. You've just been listening to that same radio show for the last however many years. And for some of us, it's 25, 30, 50 years. Um, so that was an eye opener. And then that reminded me of something else that came from my course that Sharon and I were in, and Paula and I were in. Um, and that is a statement that helps me all the time. And how I didn't invent the idea, but this is my way of saying it. You bring about what you think about. And so if you're always thinking about this person's, negative actions or the things that about them that make you nuts or, snatch your bald headed, all that. If that's all you're thinking about, well, then there's nothing else that can thank you for that heart. There's nothing else that can happen. And so when you decide to think about something differently, then you can bring about a different result, a different feeling, you know. And I was thinking about the thing that's on the back of my door. Whatever the situation is, plus whatever meaning you give it, equals your emotions. So, situation happens in trauma or in upset, and then you make it mean something about this person, and then you have a feeling about this person, and you just carry it with you, and you just put it in a little bag and carry it around with you. Yeah. So amazing, amazing, amazing. So helpful. And I know won't be a surprise. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. So the final thing is, I know that because I am a highly sensitive person, HSP. And those of you who are out there, shout outs to my HSP folks. Um, there's a thing, and if you're thinking to yourself, Maya, what the heck is an HSP? Highly sensitive person. About 30% of the planet are wired neurologically to be highly sensitive. And if you think about living in hunter-gatherer societies, being extra sensitive would be a biological advantage because you can smell things at 5,000 feet, so you know when there's danger in the area, or you're watching. It's so yeah. You just that was an ADHD moment. 15 things hit my face. So HSP, highly sensitive person, and there are four distinguishing characteristics about this person. And this is all from the work of Elaine, and she's Elaine, and then Aron, Aron. Just look up HSP, Elaine Aron. It's all there on the internet. So there's four characteristics, and I realized, yeah, I have them. So one is depth of processing, and that is we go deep fast. I am not good at small talk. I am not good at chat. I don't do it well. I'm great at this because we're going deep and we're having a conversation and we're thinking. I love this stuff, and so that's fun for me. And it's harder for other people who are not HSP. And for those of you who love an HSP, I think it's the thing that attracts you to us because it's And once again, in the diversity of the planet, you think of a range of behaviors. We're on the far end of depth. Okay, so this is why Facebook Live is so fun for me. Connecting with you like this is so fun for me, and going someplace where I have to just go hi, 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 and just I have to go. I want to run screaming from the room. So depth of processing. The second thing is we get overwhelmed sometimes. And because we have so much sensory data coming in, sometimes it's like, oh my God, which is why the forest is so awesome for us. It's like you can actually see me. I mean, think of the difference between me being in the car with everybody all around me and even me being on the street the other day. But the forest is like, oh yeah, yeah, got my feet on the ground, on the earth, and it's awesome. Hello, Henrietta. How are you, my dear? Um, so depth of processing, overwhelm, which is why this is amazing. And if you know that, then you can take care of yourself. The third thing is emotional. I don't take a breath without an emotion. Some people are like, what is the matter with you? Nothing. Nothing. I'm just on that range of behaviors where it's emotional. And so I think that connects to my voice as well because you can hear that in my voice. And the final thing is that we pick up subtle clues. So, of course, we're like little detectives. And I use my detective skills in, interpersonal and inside you. I call it, your inner work. That's why I love that because I pick up subtleties that other people might miss. But then I could use my voice here on Facebook Live and say, you know what? This is this. And then if you know it's there, you can look for it and then you'll start to see it yourself. So HSP is very, very fun. So we were talking about how that would be a biological advantage. I mean, think about all those things if you're out in the world. Now, we think overwhelm is not an advantage, but we live in a world and there's that but again, it's going to happen. And we think it's a a biological advantage in the world where there was no technology. In technology, it's not necessarily an advantage because we're living in a machine world, in a technological world. And so when you go back to biomimicry, you go back to humanity, overwhelm means sit down, get something to eat. Turn your brain off, go walk in the forest. And I think that our ancestors who were HSP uh, didn't have to be told that. It's like the raccoon that was running around the outside of our house the other day. Yeah, you didn't need to tell her to lie down or sit down when she needs to. She is present enough to do that. So, all of this to say, um, I'm learning so much. I'm actually astonished at how much I'm learning up close and personal in a situation that I thought would be. I remember I said, I don't want to go here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to. And that was real. And 3 days in, I can tell you that I I felt the way I did about this person because there was love in the beginning of our relationship. And so that brought me to people that you don't love, you don't have any emotion about. It's like it's neutral. But people who you have loved, um, yeah, you can get to anger really quickly with those folks when they disappoint you or, whatever. It's like, so that's a really nice, I think that's a really nice distinction to carry with you because when you bring more life to your relationships, it's because you're bringing more life to your understanding of your own stuff. And those of us who say have grown up in, a variety of traumatic situations, And I use that word trauma on purpose. There's a new book that Oprah came out with a doctor whose name I forget, and I want to say his first name is Bruce. But anyway, love the guy. They wrote a book called What Happened to You. So awesome, so amazing. And the thing that I love about that I learned from there, and I've seen it also in another book called Try Softer, and the woman's first name is Aundi, and I think her last name is Kohlberg. I can close my eyes and see the title of the book. Anyway, it's called Try Softer. And each book is talking about things that matter to me because as an HSP, this is, and my own background, um, uh, in my own family, God bless us, 100% Irish family dysfunction. Um, three things about the brain that are really fun. And so I'll wrap up our conversation with three things about the brain that are really fun that you can use right away. Um, and we're wired for survival. Okay, we're wired to survive. So three things, three doorways. I might not have that right. Anyway, so something happens, and we're in it, and it has to get past our brain stem uh, to go any further. Okay, so at our brainstem is our decision about whether we're safe or not. So safe, keep on going. Not safe, we're out of here. Okay, so in trauma, if you're not safe, you disappear. So to my situation, all those years ago, where this situation that I'm working through right now started, trauma, not safe. Okay, out. So you can't get you can't get up here to your frontal cortex where you actually can have a thought. So fascinating. So think about the circumstances that you deal with, especially that are upsetting. Did you get stuck here? Okay, so if you're not safe, we're not playing. We're out. Okay, I ran away from home as a 17-year-old with the clothes on my back and $30 in my pocket because I wasn't safe in my home. I'm out. I mean, now, not necessarily smart, courageous maybe, but I'm not safe. I'm out. Okay, and everything else that happened to me, um, and that I've created started in that one decision. Not safe. Where do I need to be safe? How can I create safety for myself and my world? So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying here's where you get out. Okay, not safe. Okay, let's say you're safe. So you're safe. You go to here, your limbic system. Your limbic system is where you decide, is this good or bad? If it's good, awesome. You're safe, it's good, goes right here. You can think. So, this is your higher order brain function. But if you're not safe and this is bad, so if you get to bad, you're out. Okay? You label it bad, and then, like any animal that tastes something and throws up, it'll never touch that again. So we go, this is bad. This is bad, and we can't move. So we can't get up to our brains to actually function. And apparently, that's what happened to me. Wow. So I teach this stuff, but now to look at it in real time, in real life, it's like, to me, so cool. And hopefully so cool for you because you can have the peace and see I'm not just talking about it, I'm talking from within it. And that's thank you for that. Aw, thank you. And um, somebody, my one of my dearest friends has a son who said to her about me, she's always in a good mood and she's always nice to people. And he was like, wow, how does that? So what I have to tell you about that is that how that happens is working through all these pieces. I didn't start out this way, although I'm sure I was born this way. If you look at pictures of me when I'm a little baby, I look just like this. I'm like, hey, everything's great. It's like I came in like this. Everybody comes in how they come in, but I came in like this. And so what I appreciated is about working through all these pieces allows me to be who I am. And so that's what I leave you with. So who did you come in as? You were full of life when you came in. And then, things happen, shit happens. Um, and we get trained out of the biomimicry we were naturally born with. So, all that to say is day 3 of my project, wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's not about anyone but me. So the circumstances that we all deal with are not about anybody but us, which means that's bucket 3. We have unlimited cosmic power to do something about them. And the minute we let go of, an outcome, like nothing I could do about anybody else, but I can do everything about me, that brings more life to whatever you're doing in 2022. And we can't go back, fortunately. Um, 2022 is it for us. And we can make this an amazing year, no matter what else is happening around us. So, thank you for joining me here. I'm so excited. I know. So, number one, uh, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I hope it is a beautiful day where you are. And I hope that you will bring about what you think about by thank you, by looking for the joy, looking for the blue sky, looking for, because it's there. It just kind of gets covered over by everything else that's there too. But you bring about what you think about, so look for what you want. That's number one. Number two, no matter what happens, yeah, including wiping your nose when you're talking on Facebook outside in the cold, um, no matter what happens, gives you an opportunity to bring more life or not. And so when you look at it as an opportunity, no matter how challenging it is, and you saw me being challenged, I'm not saying I'm perfect at this because I'm not. And what makes it quick for me is when I find myself someplace where I'm not breathing, I know exactly what to do next, and that is take a breath. Let what's let my um, let the sensory data move from here. I'm safe. Move from here. It's good. Even if it feels crappy, it's good for me. So that allows it to get up to here. So I can think about it. And what do I want to do next? And the third thing is all this is happening in my world as an example for me and as an invitation to you. I have no idea what's happening in your world, but I do know that those folks who are drawn to me and the message that I have are having similar things happen to them and have a similar tendency to want to work it through. And so there is a conversation for everybody on the planet. And I'm having a particular kind of conversation for particular kind of folks. And so I'm doing this Facebook Live to call you forth, to invite you to walk with me, to invite you to bring more life to whatever you're doing. And I so appreciate your answering and your feedback and your presence. So until tomorrow, I'm Maya Beatty, and I'll see you next time.